Well, hey there, and welcome to this edition of B.E.P Talks, where amazing people from all industries, all professions, all ages, all stages of their career come and share their beliefs, experiences, and passions in such an authentic and generous way so as to inspire you, motivate you, educate you, sometimes even to entertain you. And we've never had an exception, and we are not going to have an exception today. That I can assure you. I'm going to give a very brief introduction here because there is so much to say about Tracy Repchuk. Tracy is a woman that I've had the privilege of knowing for a number of years and actually working on a couple of different projects with. She just never ceases to amaze. Always ahead of the time, ahead of the curve. I want to get in a little bit into her head here and find out how she has that superpower. So join me as we welcome today's guest on B.E.P Talks, Tracy Repchuk.
All right. Thank you for having me, Beth. So
Oh,
excited.
I am so excited. And as I mentioned to the audience, we have had two opportunities to work together. And I've had the honor, the privilege, and the pleasure of getting to know you to the point that I am going to feel free to call you my friend.
Absolutely.
And we have supported each other. Thank you. That means so much to me. What I said and what has amazed me about you from the day that I first didn't even actually meet you, but crossed paths in a different project, you have what I'm referring to as a superpower. How are you always so ahead of the curve? I'm not going to say predicted things, but you have the power to envision things. You were a woman who was published in Forbes a number of times. You're a 9-time best-selling international author. You've spoken on 45 countries, way before it was kind of, I don't even want to say a standard yet, but kind of traditional for women to do that. How? How?
I don't know if I know the how, but I do have that ability to see something and say, wait a minute here, this is big. And it really started, back in 1985, graduated from college at the age of 19. I started my own software company because I saw, of course, at that time that technology was at the forefront. And then, hey, did technology and software development for major, companies, lottery corporation, banks, governments, all sorts of things were going on. And then, of course, in 1992, in sneaks this talk of the information superhighway, right? And I was like, whoa, this is next. I shifted my entire company to the internet in 1992. People didn't even know what it was yet, but I was already developing websites, which I saw were the new yellow pages. Um, and so it kind of flows like that. Then, of course, the social media and then all of the fax technology, handheld technology, and then ultimately when we hit ChatGPT.
Unbelievable that you had, I'm calling it a superpower because I believe that it is, that you can envision the next thing. I just want to address one thing because most of our audience is women. Did you have any kind of pushback playing the way you were playing at
At,
that time as a woman?
at
What kind
every
of
step.
pushback did you have from the boys?
No question. I will never forget, when I went into my first, I'll call it board meeting, right? I'm attempting to sell major software systems to companies way back in 1985. I'm 19. I look like I'm 12. And then I'm a woman against 9 other men, Ward Millette, Dunwoody, Microsoft, every major corporation was there. They would bring in like 3 men to stand there and pitch the board of directors, which of course was, 10 men, 50 and up. I was an absolute fish out of water, had no idea what I was doing. I was just passionate about what I could do for them. And that's I think part of, again, I'll call it that superpower is I can invoke something that these men certainly could not. They had the facts, the figures, the resumes, the backing, the billions. And I had, oh my God, guys, you should see what this technology can do for you, right? And oftentimes that was the piece that would get me noticed and
Yeah.
allow me to really penetrate into the market. But at the time, not only were those men against me, but often board members were, we can't have this young kid, we don't know where she's going. And honestly, that trend has continued through my entire career, especially when I became a speaker on the World Internet Summit with me and 15 other men.
Wow. Wow. So what was obviously your talent and your brain power always has and always will speak for itself. What was the turning point and what gave you the perseverance? Because that was like you said, you were out of water. You weren't even feeling like you were swimming upstream. You weren't even in the water. So what was it that gave you that the passion clearly, but the perseverance not to walk away?
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, again, it's a funny thing because I had no plan B, right? That I started a company, I'm 19 years old. This is it. I'm an entrepreneur. Didn't even know what that word meant till my college professor was the one that told me I should be an entrepreneur. Um, and at that point, live, survive, survive, survive. And I have survived every techno crash and recession, depression, when other major companies around me went down. And so perseverance is one thing, spotting trends is another. And I think it is always a belief and a faith in that what I'm doing can always help that person. And of course, I switched from corporations to focus on women, particularly women coaches, speakers, authors, to help them establish themselves because I truly believe we're at a forefront shift where, of course, women are the power of the planet, and
Yes.
we're the ones I think that are going to really start to create that shift in motion towards always playing for the betterment of everyone.
Yes, yes. And I could not agree with you more on that point that women have to realize the position that well, I guess we've always been in, the hand that rocks the cradle sort of a thing, but now switching gears a little bit. Do you have a moment in time where you remember that being a woman was not the factor anymore, that you were accepted as an equal, that you became a go-to resource?
I would say that moment came more so in the internet marketing arena. When I was the only woman with 15 men, that's how I've spoken in 45 countries, and on the World Internet Circuit Summit, the highest level you could accomplish as a speaker in that time.
Mhm.
I did that for 5 years. It was quite a moment because that's where, yes, there was a lot of men that were not for me. They saw
Mm,
me as competition, which was
yes.
absolutely ridiculous, but okay. But really, it was the audience that kept me going because there was women in that audience that were constantly getting misguided from Flash, when I would be going out there and saying, look, guys, here's the path. It's why I wrote that book, 31 Days to Millionaire Marketing Miracles, way back in 2006. It became the Bible of internet marketing because it was the A to Z steps. So I took away, I put my programming logic, because I graduated as a computer programmer, into the industry. And at that point, people started to see me as a peer simply because I was closing from the stage at the level that the men were. And then all of a sudden I was like, whoa, okay, this girl can walk the talk.
Right. So, it's always good to stand out. So, as the only woman, you stood out. People may have said for the wrong reason, the right reason, whatever, but you stood out. You had the attitude.
Mm.
And that's, well, you had to have moxie to do that, a lot of courage. And you kind of made yourself a little vulnerable, I would say, out there, not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength and courage when you are able to put that out there. So here we are, all these years later, all of your accomplishments later. Do you find, is there still that resistance, the gender resistance? Are you still finding that to be out there?
I I'm not seeing it now. And that could be me, right?
Yes,
Maybe
yes,
I'm like completely I have put myself in a way in a category of one, doesn't matter what's happening out there, doesn't matter what people think of me. Maybe that came with age and wisdom, 41 years in business of experience. And so I am now in that position where I'm like, hey, if you want my help, I'm here to give
yeah,
it. If you don't, that's okay. Pick who is right for you. And and maybe that is really what has come to light now. And then I want to pick up where you mentioned that vulnerability point.
yeah,
So massively, you are massively vulnerable when you're stepping up and being kind of a leader in an industry. It was always my mission to ensure women got on that stage, women became prominent in an industry that I was in the computer programming, in the software arena. All of these bigger visions were what was my driver in that, it's not about me, it's actually about the bigger picture. But being vulnerable in that was constant. There were tears, there were crashes, there were absolute moments. And then I've got to say, how did I survive a lot of that? That came from my husband and business partner for 30 years, who was that support system, who was that person I could call and I would, be absolutely devastated. And he would say, no, don't worry. Small
right.
blip, something that, and so it is important to have that infrastructure if you can.
Well, and I want to say on behalf of so many women, thank you for bearing the labor pains that birthed so much opportunity for so many more. Um, Truly, thank you. So let's go back to your superpower. What's coming? What are you seeing over the next horizon, if you want to share it?
Really, I mean, obviously, we're currently bombarded now with AI technology, the chat GPT concepts. As fast as we were social media, as fast as we were internet marketing in their days, right? This is now at that thousandfold. So
Wow.
really what I see now is a calibration and a better understanding on how can businesses, how can we as a society properly leverage AI technology, of course, for the good and the betterment of our businesses, our company, customer service, all of these things. I really feel we're now going to be taking that time to digest and settle on how can we make our life easier. It's said back in the 70s when the computers were coming out, our life is going to be so simple now. Computers are going to help us, get a great lifestyle. Instead, they've done the reverse. And I think AI technology now is that moment in time where we can have a 20-hour work week, we can have a work-life balance, we can have it all.
Wow, a 20-hour work week. And it's funny, I just spoke to someone over the weekend about that work-life balance theory. Does it exist? Is it real? I think it definitely impacts women so much more than men, and trying to balance everything. And when you're balancing, it's never like this. It's still always kind of like this in prioritizing, which women, I think, are so innately good at, of stepping away and reorganizing, prioritizing. So ChatGPT, I'm not a tech person. I
Hmm.
am so not a tech person. I mean, I still think when I turn my computer on every morning, oh my gosh, did I just blow the fuses at the Pentagon? I think like I have that kind of power when I'm touching buttons, so I don't. So, how wonderful to know that there are people like you who understand it. The fear, I'll use that word, maybe a little bit of an overstatement, but are you sensing a fear that people have with Chat GPT as one and all of its parallel universe, that it can be used for good, of course, like everything can, but that it's taking away a human touch in life and business?
I think it's less fear and more confusion where we are
Oh,
right now. And I think that's why we really need to catch up on the educational element. And I'll say like the one thing I've done in my company and the one thing I've done for my clients in particular is I have created these things called GPTs. And they have revolutionized all my programs because what used to take, let's say goals, setting goals, right? I used to take a week out the week before January 1, and we would set our goals in place. We would get our maps, we'd get our marketing. I created a GPT that can do that in 15 minutes. And not only does it create your goals, but it's flexible, which means it sets your year pattern, it sets your month pattern, it sets your week pattern, it sets your daily pattern, all the things you need to do to accomplish this big goal that you have. But more importantly, if you're moving along and you hit February and then all of a sudden you're not where you should, it can now calibrate and readjust. I mean, that's one GPT. I have GPTs that lead gen. I have GPTs that create your premium offer, GPTs that find your exact target market and create that niche and create that brand. I've just been writing and coding these GPTs now like crazy just to make someone else's business easier. So it took one of my programs, Quantum Leap Legacy, which used to take about 2 to 3 months to get your offer organized, to get all these things in place, 7 days. We've got it from idea to 7 days launching because of GPTs, took all the work and all the grind away. And that's the beautiful part that I absolutely love for particularly businesses is that that's what we want to be leveraging it for. I don't care really. Yeah, great. It does emails, it does little marketing things and tweak stuff for you. No, this is about taking those pieces that grind your time and keep you stuck, overcoming those obstacles, moving it to the side so you can focus on what you need to focus on, which is, of course, what you're a master at, getting on the phone, having conversations, and enlightening somebody about what it is that you can do for them, period.
Wow. You know what? You encapsulated it's not fear. And I said maybe that was an overstatement. It's confusion. That I think is what a brilliant statement. We don't know what we don't know until we find out we don't know, but there's ways of finding out how to get past that. You create chat GPTs.
It's
I'm,
not ChatGPT, it's a GPT, which is taking the engine of a ChatGPT, taking all of the technology that I have around certain pieces that I've had over 40 years, such as goals, such as creating irresistible offers, all of these elements, such as finding your target market and creating like a mini program where all you have to do is go into it and say, okay, so here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to offer. How? Boom. Here's your target market. Here's where they reside. Here's the offer you should be creating. Here's the price you should be setting. All of that's done now.
OMG.
It is. It really is. I'm excited because it takes my programming background and absolutely gives me the engine that I have been dreaming of to expedite the results of my clients, which is why everything I do now is called Quantum Leap, because it takes you from here to there without all the steps in between.
Oh, beautiful. And who doesn't want to have more time to do other things than just working? So I mentioned that women, and I think it's just built into our DNA of switching gears. And that can be a dangerous thing because if you're trying that work-life balance and so many women working in the home and dealing with the family and all the other issues of a household, um, how important it really is to set those goals. And if you deviate from them, that you have a way to help people identify, okay, off target, like our Google Maps, make a U-turn, come back and get back on the right track. You can do that. I told you she had superpowers. I just learned of another one. Oh my gosh. That is amazing. And I don't want to sound surprised because if it were coming from anybody but you, I might be. But coming from you, Tracy Repchuk, I am so not surprised because you are always ahead of the curve. You always have that vision, sometimes a little scary for a non-tech person like myself. But I want to say to the audience, knowing Tracy for a number of years now, the trust that I have in this woman, that what she says is not woo woo out there. It's real. It's in Tracy's world right now, and she can deliver it to your world. So all you have to do, like me, is be smart enough to connect and say how, where, when. We know the why. The why is very clear. And connect and take. I'm almost saying, should you lean back? Do you have like a super? Do you have like an S on that beautiful red top that you're wearing? This is a superwoman with superpowers. We all need to take I don't want to say take advantage, but bring Tracy into your life to make it easier and to accomplish more. Tracy, I know I can talk to you on so many things, not just business, but family and our likes, because I've been blessed, as I said, to know you for a while. I can't thank you enough, and I can't urge the audience enough. All Tracy's contact information is below. Gift yourself the opportunity to work with this visionary who is ahead of the curve. You don't have to learn everything she knows, because that would be impossible. I don't have enough time left to do that. Just let her become part of your life. Let her become part of your goals, your plan, and let Tracy help you move along so that you reach your goals. It's really as simple as that, is it not, my friend?
It is. It's as simple as freegoalplan.com and really, get started. Take that first step.
I want to repeat that. Free goal, GOAL, plan, PLAN.com.
Yeah.
Freegoalplan.com. We'll have it below. And I think you're going to see a lot of activity going to freegoalplan.com. Tracy, as always, I thank you so much for being the person that you are, for being so open and willing to share your knowledge, your talents, well, your beliefs, your experiences, your passions. That's what B.E.P Talks is all about. So I thank you. I thank you so very much. And to all of our listeners, please go there, get to know Tracy, bring her into your life, personal and professional. You will be glad that you did, and I can vouch for that. And as we always say at B.E.P Talks, may the best always be yet to come. And please come to B.E.P Talks, share your story, share your goals, be a great light to others, and feel really good for having done that. So until we talk again, as I said, may the best always be yet to come. Tracy Repchuk, you are awesome, and I thank you so much.
Thank you, Beth.
Have a blessed day, all. Bye for now.